of the Chess for Unity. Today we're going to be learning about tactics, forks, pins, and skewers. My name's Isaac Wong. I'm an international master, and yeah, let's get started. So a little bit about myself. I started playing chess at 9 years old. I'm currently an international master. I became an international master when I was 15 last year. So right now I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm in 10th grade. I like 80s music. I'm also a big sports fan. I watch a lot of sports, football, hockey, basketball, baseball. I do fencing at my school, so it's pretty fun. My biggest achievement is probably being a Chess for Unity coach, being able to share my knowledge and love of chess with you guys. Um, all right, does my TA want to introduce himself?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, I'm Jesse. I started playing chess when I was around the same time as Isaac, when I was like 8. I'm currently like around 1700s or so in chess. I'm also a sophomore in high school. I also like watching a lot of sports, mainly baseball. Music, I like about like 2010s, 2000s to 2010. And then in my free time, I like doing a lot of math. For sports, I swim and I do weightlifting at my school.
Nice, nice. All right, so we're gonna do a review on what you guys learned last time. So last time you guys learned about tactics and also counting material. So tactics are usually a short sequence of moves. The goal is to win material, deliver checkmate, or gain an advantage. Um, we're gonna do some tactics on these next few slides to warm up. Make sure to count the material. Before we get into that, I think you guys learned this last time, but can anyone tell me how many points each of the pieces are worth? So we'll start with pawn. You can put your answers in the chat. Yeah, got a lot of answers. Yeah, all right, everyone got it. It is 1 point. All right, what about a knight? Someone said two, not quite. Three is the right answer, yeah. All right. What about the bishop? Yeah, also three. Um, all right, the next piece, the rook. Yep, you guys got it. All right, the queen. Exactly. All right. Looks like everyone's got it, so very good. And remember the king is the most important piece. So, all right. This is the first puzzle to warm up. It's black to play here. Tell me the move. Make sure to count the material first. Look for checks, captures, and threats, like you guys went over last time. Got one answer so far. Does anyone else have any? White is up material. Very good. Yeah. How much material is white up in terms of numbers? Like plus how many? Yeah, that's right. White has one more. Okay. I see some people already giving the move. Does anyone else have an idea what the move is?
Bishop captures pawn, then checks king, then rook takes queen.
Yeah, that's right. You can just put your answers in the chat. Um, yeah, okay. It looks like everyone's got it. So yeah, bishop takes h2. The king has to take it, or they don't have to, but no matter if they take it or not, you can take the queen with the rook. At the end, it is 4 versus 9. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. I think it's 4 versus 10 actually, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Black's completely winning. You're up a rook. You're up too much material, and there's nothing white can do. All right. Anyone have any questions or no questions? Okay. Next problem. Make sure to count the material again. And then it's black to move here again. So count the material first. Tell me who's up. Someone says white is winning. Okay, put how much material you're up. White is 32 points. Okay. How many does black have? Yeah, exactly. So white is up a piece here. As you can see, they have an extra knight. So what do you guys think that black should play here?
Rook e2 and then g2 bishop and then the bishop will take the king.
Wait, sorry, could you repeat that?
Rook go e2, queen go g2 and then bishop take the king. I think it's
Uh,
queen to h1 check, rook
I think you
takes.
said the notation wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's queen to h1 check, a brilliant queen sacrifice. Rook takes h1, rook takes the queen, and then the rook takes h1 checkmate.
Does everyone see that? That's the right answer, by the way. Good job.
Yay. That's what I said.
You said rook e2, but okay. Um,
I meant g2.
rook g2. Rook g2 is not
The queen can
legal.
capture.
I think you mean queen g2, but they can just take with the rook. I'm not quite sure what you mean, but it's chill though. Yeah. So does everyone get that? Queen h1. The rook takes, then you take back with the rook. The king doesn't have any squares to move. The bishop on the C6 square covers the diagonal completely.
It should be rook d2. So king will be forced to move to something 3. It's blocking me. Like, and then rook can capture. Never mind.
Who says that the king has to take back? There's actually a checkmate on C8 if you do that. Well, it's not checkmate, but it's going to be eventual checkmate.
Sorry, what move did you say? Who said? I don't even know what move you said, to be honest.
If you if you do rook takes G1, you'll actually be checkmated with queen takes C8. It's going to be eventual checkmate.
Yeah, Rook H1 is not the move though. I thought we made clear that Queen H1 was the first move. I was just wondering if anyone had any questions about that. No questions? All right. Next puzzle. This is the last one of our warm-up. Remember to look for checks, captures, and threats, like you guys learned last time. It's white to move here. So first count the material, of course. Tell me who's up. Okay, we got a couple of different answers here. Could we get some more answers? We got 3 answers so far. Black up 1 point. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, someone said white. I think a couple people said white. Not quite. Black has 2 rooks, that's 10. They have a bishop, that's 3, and then a pawn, that's 1, so that would make 14. White has a bishop, 3, a knight, 3, a rook, 5, and 2 pawns. That'd make 13, I believe. So yeah, black is up a little bit of material here. All right, now tell me what move you guys would make here for white. I think we have one answer so far. Um, Anyone else have any ideas? Someone said knight f6. That's a good start. What happens if the king moves back 1 to h6? One person's already no one. No one's got it so far. That answer is wrong, by the way. Someone said knight f6, king h6, bishop c1. That's winning, but you have a better move. Yeah, exactly. Bishop f8. And that's checkmate, if you guys can visualize that. Okay. Okay, now people are saying the answer. You guys can just say whatever move you guys think it is. You don't have to think it's yeah, it doesn't have to be right. So someone said rook f5. Not quite. That just hangs a rook. Um, that's a good way to start though. You're looking for checks. Um, all right. I think we're good on these. Anyone have any question? Okay, no questions. We're moving on. All right, so today we're going to be learning about a new topic called forks. Does anyone know what a fork is or ever heard of it before?
Forks are simple.
Yeah, they are double attacks. Attacking two pieces so that when one moves, you can grab the other one.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. So yeah, like you said, forks are when one piece attacks two. It's usually with a knight, although some other pieces can also fork. Knight forks are quite powerful. For example, this example on the right over here, you see the knight on d4 in the center of the board is hitting the king and the queen. The king has to move because it's checked, but then once it moves, the queen will be lost no matter what.
The royal.
All right. This is our first example. Um, it's white to play here. First count the material, um, and then tell me what move you guys would play here.
Knight f7. Royal fork.
Black is up material, and yeah, knight f7 is the move. So if the king moves, what would you guys play? King g8 is the only move they can play.
Knight f7. You can also capture the rook.
After knight f7, they can move the king, and then what would you guys play?
Capture the king.
Yeah, exactly. You capture you capture the queen on d8, and then you're just winning.
What about bishop to e6?
Wait, sorry, what was your question?
What about bishop to e6 if black moves?
It's white to move in this position.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't you say the answer already?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about for black? Bishop can capture the pawn, then The king's in check and he has to capture, saving the queen.
It's white to move in this position.
I know. Once the knight moves to a royal fork, the king, uh,
If you fork, the king has to move, and then you can take the queen. Does that make sense to everybody? Or it seems like there's kind of some confusion. It's white to move here. No questions? Does it make sense? Knight f7.
Also, after everything, black will actually only be down 2 points in material.
It's a good observation. Yeah, someone said the king is in check, so you can't move the bishop. Exactly, yeah. Remember, knights move in L shapes in any direction. So if the knight's on f7, it can take the rook, it can take the queen, it's hitting the king. When the king's in check, it has to move. So, all right, next example. This position, it's white to move here. Um, Tell me what you guys would play in this position.
I'm leaving.
E5. Fork of the bishop and knight.
I got two answers so far. There's another one, another one. Okay, looks like everybody's got it. Yeah, e5. So the pawn is hitting the bishop and the knight. So this example is a bit more unique because usually when you say forks, you think of it with the knight, but in this case, it's with the pawn. If the bishop moves anywhere after e5, um, you just simply take the knight on f6. And then if your opponent does the other way around, if they move the knight after e5, you can just take the bishop on d6. I think everyone got that one pretty quick. Any questions? No questions? Okay. All right. That brings me to our next topic, pins, which is another tactic, another great way to win material. It's quite different from forks. Um, does anyone know what a pin is or ever heard of it?
I know.
Me too.
You can type your answers in the chat. Do you guys know what a pin is, like the definition? Okay, some people heard of it, some people haven't, some people forgot. It's all good. All right, so pins are basically when a piece is pinned, it cannot move. And there's usually something more valuable behind the piece that is pinned. For example, uh, in this position on my screen, the knight is currently pinned to the rook. The knight, if you guys remember, is worth 3 points, and the rook is worth five. So the knight is less valuable. So that's why we call it a pin. The less valuable piece is pinned to the more valuable one. Someone said it is when you make a piece not able to move. Yeah, exactly. For example, here, if the knight moves, you lose the rook, and there's really no way to protect the knight. So, all right, this is our first example. Does anyone know? First of all, count the material, and then someone tell me what you would play here for white.
Well, black is has eight material points and white has six. I kind of did it wrong on the chat, but I feel like the right answer is bishop to c3, pinning the rook to the king.
Yep, that's the right answer. Looks like everyone's saying that too. Black is up by 2 points in material. That's correct. Yeah. You guys gotta try to say the answer before I say it. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this one? Everyone seemed to have gotten it. No questions? Okay. Can move on to the next one. This position. Make sure to count the material first. Tell me what's going on in this position. And then it's white to move here, so tell me what you would play here for white. Someone said white is +3. Not quite. Material is equal.
The answer is bishop to b5, which is a to the pin to the black king, and the queen is in front. The queen cannot take the bishop because the knight will take back.
Yep. Bishop b5 is the correct answer. So the less valuable piece, the queen, is pinned to the king. Um, like Wen Zhong said, if the queen takes, the knight is guarding the bishop, so you can just take back. And if you play any other move, white can just take the queen the next move. Any questions? Okay, nobody has any questions. We can move on to the next example or next topic. So skewers. Does anyone know what a skewer is? It is another.
A skewer is kind of like a pin, but the more valuable piece is in front. So a skewer is an example of a skewer is a king in front of a queen. The more important piece has to move, and then you lose your other piece.
Do we got anyone else know what it is or no? Yes.
Skewer is like a pin, but the more valuable piece is in front.
Someone said backwards pin. That's a great way to think of it. Okay. So yeah, a skewer is like a pin, like I said before, but it is reversed. So for example, in the position on the right of the screen, the queen, which is worth 9 points, is pinned to the rook, which is worth 5. Um, well, I guess it's skewered to the rook. If the rook was, if these two pieces were the other way around, it would be called a pin because the less valuable piece, the rook, is pinned to the queen. But in this case, it's a skewer because the queen, the more valuable piece, is placed is skewered to the rook.
Also, the queen is technically pinning the bishop to the king, but the problem is the queen can be captured.
Yeah, so we wouldn't call that a pin because like yeah, that's not a pin. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Skewers and pins are very similar. If you say like pin in this position, everyone will understand what you're saying. So yes, makes sense. All right, we're gonna move on to our first example. This is the first example. I think it's pretty straightforward. First of all, count the material. Should be pretty easy to count, and then tell me what move you would play here.
Black is 9 points, white is 5 points, so black is 4 points more. And you can do rook e1 check. The queen is in the back, and the king is forced to move.
Rookie one.
Someone said black is winning. If it was black's move, they are, but unfortunately, white has a good move here.
If it is black's move, then black can do queen to a4 check, winning the rook, but since it's white's move, white is winning.
That's correct, yeah. Nine five, that is the correct material count, yeah. Or yeah, 5 9, same thing. Um, can we get some more answers? I feel like it's the same people every time. Queen A4 if it was black's turn. Yeah, I think we concluded that, yeah. So yeah, rook e1 is the best move. Anywhere the king moves, you can just simply take the queen. Um, you're skewering the king to the queen. The king is the more valuable piece technically, and yeah, wherever it goes, you can just take the queen. Okay. Any questions or no? I think this was pretty straightforward. You guys were better than I expected. No questions. Okay. This is the next example. Count the material first. Shouldn't be too difficult to count. There's not that many pieces left, and then tell me what you would play here with white.
Black is 9 points. White is 4 points. So black is up 5 points.
Bishop
But
g5. Okay.
but the
You can
bishop
you can just put your answers in the chat.
the bishop can go to g5, check winning the queen, but you do need to learn the pawn endgame if you want to win this.
Yeah. Someone said black is winning. Similarly to the last example, if it was their move, then yes, but it's white's move here. White to black, 4 to 9. That's very accurate. You guys are good. Someone said 3 to 9. Not quite. It's 4 to 9. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bishop G5 is the best move. You guys all got it. Um, the king is skewered to the queen. The king moves, and you can simply just take the queen, and there's nothing they can do about it. They don't have anything to block the check. So that's why it's very important to look for checks, captures, and threats, like you guys went over last time. Um, does that make sense to everybody? This one's a little bit more complicated because after you take the queen and they can take your bishop and the pawn endgame is it's winning, but it's like actually I don't know if it's winning. Might even be a draw. But okay, that's not the point.
Distant opposition after you take the queen if the king takes back.
It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. But anyway, that's not the point. Yeah, so bishop g5 is the right skewer, and then you win the queen no matter what. Any questions or no? Someone does have a question? I see someone says yes. Do you want to type your answer, your question, or never mind? You can ask your question. No question. Okay. Um, all right, then we're gonna move on. Our next topic is undefended pieces. Undefended pieces are simply pieces that are not protected by any of its teammates, I guess you could say. Um, if you notice, the topics we're learning today are all forms of tactics like forks, pins, and skewers. They're easy ways to win material. Some in those examples, most of the material winning, like those pieces are usually not protected, and undefended pieces can be easily targeted and taken, um, which leads to loss of material, either for yourself or for your opponent. So it's very important to keep all your pieces protected. Um, in this position, can anyone tell me what piece is hanging? I think it should be pretty obvious. Got one answer. Yeah, it is circled. The knight is the hanging piece. So if it's black to play, you could simply just take the knight. Um, and you'd just be up a piece. So that goes to the topic of undefended pieces. If this knight was protected, you would not be able to take it, most likely. Um,
Also, also they have the same materials.
that's a good point. Yep, they do have the same material. That's a good point. Um, any questions? Any questions on undefended pieces? Yeah, think it makes sense to everybody. All right, this is our first example. So I want you guys to first count the material and then tell me like what the material count is, who's up or whatever the situation is, and then tell me which piece is undefended. It's black to move here, but before we get to the move, first tell me those two things. The pawn on b8. That's not accurate.
Black, I think, is up one material. Wait, 4 material points? Wait, no, 1 material point. And I feel like the rook on f8 is hanging, I think, because, well, you lose 2 points.
Wait, sorry, who did you say was up? You said white was up one or black was up one?
I I think that white is up one pawn, I think.
That's inaccurate. No.
Oh, I didn't see the pawn on F. I didn't see the pawn on E. I but I think white can take the rook on f8.
It's black to move here.
Oh,
But yeah, that's a good point. You did mention that the rook is undefended. That is true. Someone said the b7 pawn is undefended. That pawn doesn't really matter though in this case because none of your opponent's pieces can even get close to it.
how
Um,
queen to d4 check?
um,
Um,
yeah, so you guys got it. The bishop on b4 is undefended. I think a few people said that earlier. Bishop is hanging. Yep. The material is the same. Yeah. Okay, so what would you guys play in this position now? You got to get more answers. We only got one. There's another one. Someone said it earlier too, but We weren't quite there yet. Okay, yeah, looks like everyone's getting it. Queen d4 is the move. The bishop on b4, like we noted earlier, is undefended. That's actually the only piece for white that is undefended, like you guys said earlier. Um, and it was good. You guys are looking for checks, captures, and threats. So queen d4, can anyone tell me, is that a check, capture, or a threat?
Check, and it's also threats because you're gonna capture the bishop.
Yeah, it is a check first, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So after queen d4 check, let's just say they move the king to like h1. What would you guys play after that? One person said it. There's another one. Someone said if king wasn't there, queen d4 is bad. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, queen d4 is a check and a threat because you're threatening to take the bishop. Bishop b or after queen d4, the king moves. You can simply just take the bishop on b4. Did I say treat? Sorry, threat. Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions here? I think this one was slightly more difficult. You guys were much better than I expected. Okay, no questions. I'm gonna move on to the next slide. Here's another example. It's white to move in this position. Okay. Um, First, obviously count the material and then tell me which piece is hanging for black.
White is down one material point. White has 6, black has 7, and the and I think the answer is bishop takes d6 because nothing can take it back.
Okay. Get some more answers. Black is up one, that's right. Someone said both the knights are hanging? Not quite. Only one of them are. My question was which one is currently hanging or like unprotected. Knight on d6, yeah. How come are they not hanging? Because both are. How would this knight on e5 be? I guess it is unprotected. I see your point, but like in this position, which knight is hanging? Sorry, I should have been more specific. Okay, some people are already saying the move. Good. Yeah, bishop d6 is the best move. Um, Black is up 1 point here, but after you take the knight, you'll be up a couple of points. Is that is that clear to everyone? I think this one was pretty straightforward. Yes, okay.
Also, black, I don't know if white is winning after the bishop takes the knight because the pawn is almost about to promote. And if black can get like one check, then well he could win.
Okay, that's somewhat accurate, I guess, but Black's probably not going to get that check. You're going a little too far here. The point is we're just talking about undefended pieces. Someone said, why would Black let White capture the knight? Um, Not entirely sure I get that question. Um, I don't know. They just like didn't see it. Okay, exactly. I think this is pretty clear to everybody. Someone said White can also take the other knight next move, but what if you don't get two moves in a row though? After Black moves, Black can move the knight, and then you're not taking anything. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Black can move away. Good point. Okay. Our next activity, we're gonna be doing a knight fork hunt. Basically just tell me where the fork is. Should be pretty straightforward. There are a couple of examples. Just tell me what you would play for black. You don't even need to count the material. Black to play in this position.
Knight to d3.
Someone said king d3. Not quite.
Knight is N, it's not K.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, most people are saying it. Knight d3 is the best move, yeah. Wherever the king moves, you simply just take the queen next move. There's nothing they can do. That's the good thing about forks is they have to save one piece, but they simply can't save both. Um, okay. You guys all got that pretty quick, so we're gonna move on to the next one if anyone doesn't have any questions. 93, yep. All right, this position, what would you guys play here? It's white to play in this position. Okay, I got two answers so far. Remember, we're looking for knight forks here. So
Knight to c7.
yeah, knight c7 is the correct answer. So if the a rook moves, you simply take the rook on the e file, and then the other way around, if the e rook moves, you can take the rook on a8. So like we mentioned before, you can't save both pieces when you're forked. Oh yeah, can you tell them that K is king, not knight? Yeah, guys, K is king, not knight. Some people keep on saying K c7. N is for knight. I guess yeah, it is kind of. I can see why you would think that K is for knight, but we use it for king. Okay, it's okay, guys. We can forgive the person who said king c7. All right. Now we're doing pin or not. Basically, the next few positions just simply tell me if the position is a pin has a pin in it or not. Yeah. Here's the first example.
Yeah, the knight is pinned to the king.
After you decide whether it is or not, just tell me which piece is pinned. Someone already said it. Um, okay, yeah. Someone said the knight is pinned. That's correct. Yes, pin knight. Okay. Okay. I think everybody's got this one. So we're gonna move on to the next one. Is this one a pin or not?
No, it's just the fork.
Someone said no, it's a fork and a check. No pin. Yep. You guys got it. It's just a fork, yeah. The bishop here is hitting the queen. Bishops usually are the ones that pin other pieces, but um there's nothing behind the queen. It's simply just the bishop is simply attacking the queen. Someone said this is a skewer, sort of, but not really. Uh, not really. What is a skewer again? It's basically just the opposite of a pin. So a pin is like, for example, if we go back to the last slide, if it'll let me do that. A pin is the less valuable piece to the more valuable one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, skewer is the other way around. It's the more valuable one to the less valuable one. Okay, are we clear on this puzzle? Yes. Okay, you guys are good. Okay, moving on. Last slide of the day. This is your homework. So the goal of this is to find the best move and name the tactic of the six puzzles down below. I'm sure some of you guys probably can already solve this right now, but just do it later. name whether it's a pin or a fork, and then tell me one move that you would make. So you can just write one move for for whatever side you're on. So for example, this one obviously you're playing as black. This one you're playing as black. This one you're playing as white. Whichever side you are on, you got to make the move. Um, is that clear to everybody for the homework?
Here we go.
Okay, that's clear, everyone. Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Um, take care. Have a great night. Don't forget to do your tactics.